What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In the world of pro sports, big money gets thrown around all the time. But what if I told you a massive $75 million contract was actually a total steal? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're diving into a really cool NBA contract story that kind of turns the whole idea of player value on its head. So let's just ask the big question right out of the gate. Can a $75 million deal really be a steal? I mean, that's a mind-blowing amount of money. It sounds kind of crazy, right? But trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one because the details are pretty wild. Okay, just look at that number. $75 million. That's what the Charlotte Hornets handed over to their star forward Miles Bridges for a 3-year deal. And for a team like Charlotte, not one of the huge market teams, that is a massive commitment. We're talking cornerstone of the franchise money right there. So this brings us to the $75 million question. When this contract dropped back in the summer of 2024, let me tell you, the internet went nuts. Pretty much everyone, fans, experts, you name it, was saying it was a huge overpay. But what if they were all wrong? What if the Hornets knew exactly what they were doing and pulled off one of the smartest moves of the offseason? All right, so first things first, you gotta understand why the Hornets even wanted to pay this guy the big bucks. The dude is a walking bucket. Miles Bridges is a flat-out scoring machine. He's been averaging over 20 points a game for his last 3 seasons. Now think about it. If you're a young team like the Hornets, having a guy you can count on to get you points night in and night out, that is absolutely crucial. Okay, so that brings us to the deal itself. A deal like no other. And honestly, his scoring is just part of the story. The real genius move, the thing that makes this whole situation so interesting, is buried in the details of the contract. And I'm telling you, this is not your typical NBA deal. Not even close. So check this out. Look at the salary breakdown. Year 1, he makes a little over $27 million. Okay, makes sense. But then, year 2, it drops to $25 million. And year 3, it goes down again to under $23 million. Wait, what? A star player's salary going down every single year? That just doesn't happen in the NBA. It's totally backwards. And that's the whole thing that makes this deal so wild. Normally, an NBA contract goes up every year. It's how players get rewarded, right? More money next year than this year. But Bridges' deal is flipped. It's what they call front-loaded, so he gets the biggest chunk of cash right away. Now, why does that matter? Well, for the Hornets, it's a game changer. It means every year they get more and more cap space, more money to sign other good players. It is an unbelievably team-friendly contract. So, just to make sure we're all on the same page, what do we mean by a steal in sports? It's pretty simple, really. It's when a team gets a player on a contract where their performance is worth way more than the money they're getting paid. And by getting a star player to agree to a contract that goes down in value, man, it really looks like the Hornets pulled off something special here. All right, let's get into the game night breakdown. Because look, a great contract on paper doesn't mean anything if the player doesn't show up on the court, right? So we're going to put this whole theory to the test. Let's zoom in on one specific night. December 12th, 2025. The Hornets are playing the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls were in a real slump, having lost 7 games in a row. The stage is set. And in the first half, Bridges just took over. From the jump, he was playing like a man possessed. He put up 20 points in the first half alone, just completely cooking the Bulls' defense. He basically dragged the Hornets to a 61-51 lead at halftime. The guy was on fire. But you know how it goes in the NBA. No lead is safe. The Bulls weren't just going to quit. They came roaring back in the second half. They wiped out a 13-point lead, and suddenly we had a super tight game on our hands. A total nail-biter. So when you look at the top scorers from that game, you see Con Knuppel for the Hornets actually led all scorers with 33, which is amazing. But look at Miles Bridges with 32 points. Here's the kicker. He scored more than any single player on the Bulls. Even though his team lost, his offensive game was just on another level that night. Yeah, the final score was Bulls 129, Hornets 126. A tough loss for Charlotte, for sure. But, and this is a big but, don't just look at the final score. This game tells a much, much bigger story about what value really means for a player. And to see it, you gotta look past the scoreboard. So let's do it. Let's dig into this tale of two bigs. To really get what's going on here, we have to compare Miles Bridges directly with his main counterpart on the Bulls, their big man, Nikola Vucevic. Okay, so here's Bridges' performance. 32 points, 7 assists, played 34 minutes. All solid numbers. But the stat I want you to look at is at the bottom, that +8, plus/minus. Now, if you're not familiar with that stat, it's super simple. It just shows what the score was while a player was on the floor. A +8 means that in the 34 minutes Bridges played, the Hornets actually outscored the Bulls by 8 points. He was a net positive, a big one. Now, let's flip over to Nikola Vucevic. Only 13 points, 4 assists. But look at that. Plus/minus, a -15. That means that while he was on the court, the Bulls got outscored by 15 points. They were getting killed with him out there. It was so bad, his coach actually sat him on the bench for the entire fourth quarter, the most important part of the game. And, props to Vucevic, he was a total pro about it. He said, hey, Billy made the right call, we won the game. Mad respect for that. But let's really think about what that means. The Bulls won the game by not playing one of their most expensive players. Oof, that's a really, really tough situation for a team to be in.
Okay, so what does it all mean? Let's bring this all full circle. How does this one game, this one head-to-head matchup, connect back to that massive $75 million contract? Well, it all comes down to the idea of value.
So here are the big takeaways. For the Hornets, that descending contract for a star player who clearly makes them better on the court, that looks like an absolutely brilliant move. It's a win-win. For the Bulls, well, this game brought up some really tough questions about the future of their 35-year-old center. And for us as fans, it's a great reminder that a player's value isn't just about how many points they score. It's about their contract, their impact, and how they help the team's future. It really feels like the Hornets found the sweet spot here. They got the star player and the great contract. But it makes you wonder, right? For a young team trying to build something special, what's more important? Having that one superstar player no matter the cost, or having a really smart, team-friendly contract? Which one gets you closer to a championship?
So what do you think? Seriously, I want to know, is it all about the star power, or is it about building a team with smart contracts? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it.
And hey, if you liked this deep dive, do me a favor and hit that like button. And of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you don't miss the next explainer. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.